Hi guys, it's Laura at Sheer Passion. Thanks for tuning in. So let's talk about this huge issue in our culture right now. In the United States, we are getting ready to vote tomorrow, and it's been a really rough year as we're coming up to Obama no longer being in office and having to deal with Hillary and Trump coming in as our candidates. So I came on here to encourage you because, as a businesswoman and as a female, that I consider myself an alpha female, where I sense such a need to be involved in my own walk, in my own life. I find it very odd in our culture that we have become a society where we rely so much on what other people do for us. So bear with me as I talk quickly, because that's one of the things that I do is I talk quickly. I'm very extroverted, so I throw things out there. I want to share with you what I see in our society that can literally change around just by changing our mindset. First of all, government is in place to take care of large groups of people. Now, if you're faith-based or you're not faith-based, God talks about listening to man's law, but listening to his law first. And so while we may think that we're doing what we need to do because we're voting in our presidents, we also have to be very careful why we're voting them in. You realize that if every single American in the world right now decided to be accountable to how they live, how they eat, how they take care of their families, how they provide every day, how they get up, roll up their mat, leave the home, and go invest in their family life, which means we're going to have to take care of our gardens, we're going to have to go make enough money. But money's a funny thing. Before money came into play, making large sums of money in our culture, or governments using large sums of money, debt ceilings, and wars, people, if we could just choose to be loving and kind and peaceful or at peace, it would require every single person to be independent, not codependent, which would mean every single time a child was born into a family, that child would be invested in to see that one day, when they become a full-grown adult, their human life is actually going to bring benefit to the society that they live in. And even if they would choose to move away, if they have likes or dislikes or common ground, or they don't have much common ground in the town that they go to, there would not be wars, there would not be rape, there would not be murder, there would not be these Ponzi schemes. Do you realize that government is in place of what families stopped doing for their towns? And the reality is that puts people down as if we're incapable of changing our attitude. I don't have to get along with my family to choose independence from them. And I don't actually have to worry if they care about that or not, as long as my independence is held and there is peace. I find that when we watch television, we expect this government to be a cloud of understanding, healthcare, and safety and security when you're dealing with people. How have those people in office been given a different run of life than you and I? And one of the things that I have realized is that even in business, every single day that I get up and my alarm goes off, or I wake up before my alarm, do you know that I never think, gosh, I wonder what the president thinks about me getting up and going to work today? Gosh, I wonder what the president would think if they knew that I had a board when I was 17 that I wrote down I was going to become a hairstylist, I was going to change the world one haircut at a time, I was going to own my own salon, I was going to change my life. Remember, I had shared with you when I was younger, I was extremely overweight because I came from a family who never knew how to eat food correctly and how we use food. And so unfortunately, I even grew up in a family that though we speak of God and though we speak that we should be accountable, accountability is difficult when you're not taught it. It's not incapable of teaching young people, but it is difficult to find it later in life. It's not impossible. Just like it's not impossible tomorrow to go vote and then to change your life and to live it well. You will not need government to be involved with your life in a positive aspect when you change your thinking. Do you know that no matter what happens tomorrow, I'm still going to get up and choose a positive life? I'm still going to be grateful for things that happen. The only thing the government can do is change how easily you can live that life. Does that mean that they can take it from me completely? You have to understand something. Long before you choose an action, you've had a thought. So if you have a positive thought and you understand what you're fighting against, why would everyone in society be so worried about this election if we're all running our homes like a tight ship? If we're all saving money if we're all living debt-free, if we're all respectful that even though we don't agree on issues, that we don't have to have war, if we all agree that we need to feed our bodies wisely, choose things that are nutritional to use in our bodies so that we go out into society, do the best job we can because our brain is running at its optimum, come home to all of our families, genuinely put time and effort into all of our marriages or the people that live in our homes, whether it's our family tree or friends, taking care of all of our animals, manicuring all of our lawns, saving for tomorrow, meeting new people, and teaching them what I just said. Government would only have a job to make sure the borders of other countries who may or may not be living that way would then take something from us. Why would we do that? If the United States of America could live in such a way where people were independent, even if we had the young, the elderly, and the sick, we would all already know how to run our day so well that if we did need to care for others, the government doesn't need to do that. Because the government is so far away from knowing your aunt's needs or your sister's needs or your neighbor's needs that it is much better if those people actually can see you investing in them. It doesn't need to go up the line. One of the things that people are worried about is health care. Well, America, you should be. Because you choose so unwisely, you somehow think if a president awards somebody else to make sure we have health care, you still haven't factored in, you're asking everyone else on the planet to live by a different means. Now, even if that was true, what if every single person in their home was also thinking that way? How would you win? The only way that anyone wins in this situation is if each person sees an independence from the next person, each child that is born into each home is genuinely cared for, like they are going to become a human being that adds value to society. I have never once, no matter what president has been in office, made less money, gone without. On the contrary, to be quite honest with you, I think subconsciously in the years where presidents have been elected and people said they're going to go without, I just take more haircuts. You'd be very surprised what my body can do while you're sitting in your home watching social media. If you even invest in how social media brings you your so-called truths, you wouldn't even watch television. Since when has the television brought us the truth? Let's say it has brought us the truth. Let's just say everything they're saying about Hillary and everything they're saying about Trump is true. Is anyone really ready to be honest with the foul mouths that we've had? Is anyone really ready to talk about how we say things about ugly women, ugly men, fat men, rich men, poor men? Is anyone really ready to talk about those things, let alone accusations of losing emails, rapes, infidelities? Folks, don't we know those kind of people in our own family trees, right here in our own small towns? Have we been completely disconnected from the way people act? If you want to take snippets of my life and hold them in front of social media, you are going to disconnect the woman that is in a growth process, a journey. Hey, you can hold me accountable for what I said. You can hold Trump accountable for what he said. You can hold Hillary accountable for what she has said. But the reality is, then you also get held accountable. And at the end of that conversation, does it take away what we said? No. The only thing that happens is if you can understand what leads people to speak in such a way. Well, what leads you to swear? What leads you to tear somebody down when you see them walking into a restaurant and they're overweight? What leads you to spend money that you should be saving? What leads you to not work on your marriage? What leads you to let your kids sit in their room and be on their television all night? See, if you want to go under the gun, just make sure the standard is held to yourself. We wouldn't even be in this situation in America if the people who sit in front of their televisions and think they're so perfect would have never allowed each election to continually go on. Because those people that are currently in office were somebody's son and daughter, somebody's cousin, somebody's neighbor, somebody's first kiss, somebody's first breakup, somebody's first love, somebody's best friend. And yet, when we watch politics, we can't see any of that. All we're interested in is what we're going to get. They wouldn't even need jobs if all of us would just take care of our own selves. And we had parents that brought us into this world, which would have needed to teach us that it is very important for you to take care of yourself, because when someone in the family tree or the neighborhood or the small town presents itself as a disease, as elderly, or as a child who's lost their parent, we're all ready to pitch in. Health care is at your kitchen table. Tragedy care, disease care, is in the hospital. Life comes at a cost, but we can do everything we can to make sure that we go through that hospital door less and less. And the reality is we'd want to be out here and not be sick. We'd want to live drug-free. There's so many things that are broken in our society, but if people choose to just deal with their individual selves, if my husband chooses to live a healthier life, the entire life he's living, with money, with his thoughts, with his food, with his water, with his sleep, with his friends, who's he investing in? Who's he spending his time with? Who is he speaking words of love and truth into? Who's he befriending? Who's he supporting? And I do the same. The president is not in charge of that. They can't take that away from us, and if we did that every single day, we wouldn't have time to sit in front of the television and watch these debates that only tear down. Remember, every time we plug into the television, we're only watching these people expecting better of them. Why not expect better of ourselves? How dare we watch a video and expect better of someone else? Unless we're willing to go under that standard, we're all going to go down. I want you to know that tomorrow after we vote, even if things don't go the way that I would like it, I am still going to get up and try my very best. You cannot take my joy from me because God gave that to me. Even if things get tough, I'm still going to choose gratitude. I think that's a better way to look at things. And I really think people need to start wondering, why are we turning on the television to locate truth? You can open up the Bible and there's truth in there, and you can't get many people to open up that all at one time and read the stories. No one said you had to believe the stories you're reading, but why not open it up and just argue about it? I mean, hell, just argue about the Bible. Open up the Bible and argue about that. But no, we turn on the television and we argue about what's on the television. Don't you find that odd? It's not odd to me. It's the way evil gets in and tears down the brain. We need to stop playing the game. We have to start being rational. And the first thing is just start asking people, hey, do you really believe everything that's on that television? What can we do in our small towns to change it? I will tell you, the first thing is prayer, and the second thing is changing your attitude. The government does not control how joyful and how well I live my life. The only thing they can do is make it more difficult. Well, why would we ever live in a country where we've elected people into office that would do that? If we're rational thinking people, that wouldn't happen. So then you can already see government is a selfish business and we allow it to go on. Shame on us. Good luck tomorrow, everybody. Do yourself a favor. Go in with the mindset that you're doing this because somebody fought for this freedom, even if the two candidates that you're picking may not be your first pick. They have a big job, big shoes to fill, and the last thing that we need in America is a negative thought before we go in to vote. Good luck. Tune in next week. Tune into the blog, Sheer Passion to Blog at blogspot.com, SheerPassion, the number 2, blog at blogspot.com. Thanks so much, guys. Bye.